In today's episode, the 1985 Mark II Vauxhall Cavalier. Hello and welcome to Quartzlight, your car brochure channel, where we look at car brochures from around the world for the 60s, 70s, 80s and 1990s. So, if that might interest you, a bit of nerdy content I know, but if that might interest you, then please do consider subscribing. It is all completely free. Watch a little bit and then decide, but like I say, it doesn't cost anything to subscribe. Anyway, we've been looking at a 1985 Vauxhall Opel full range brochure for the UK. Last week we looked at the incredible Vauxhall Astra range, so logically this week Cavalier. So here is today's brochure. June to September 1985 Vauxhall Opel range. I'm not going to spend too much time waffling on, we've kind of like talked about the cover already. We're going to go straight to the Cavalier range. Because, you know, last week's Astra episode was vast, wasn't it? Because it is such a big range, and the Cavalier at this time was equally so. Well, notice we had a bit of an upgrade to a much more curvier, rounded Astra by this time, but we're still on the Mark II Cavalier, so we have to wait quite some time before we get the more curvier Mark III in 1988. Although, having said all that, this would have been a facelift year as well. In production from August 1981 to October 1988. But this would have been when we got our first facelift, sometimes referred to as the Mark IIB, which ran from 85 to 87, and then we had a second facelift at the end. Not much really changed at this time, to be honest with you. We're going to do a bit of a different grille, darkened rear lights, a little bit darker at the rear there, but very minor changes. I think the biggest change really was the GL trim could now be had with the 1.8 injected engine. The picture that we're looking at right now, well, it's the top model, the Vauxhall Cavalier CD, looking very, very fine, very well appointed model. The text telling us Cavalier, the class-winning driver's car that families enjoy, and certainly it was a very popular model. So this particular brochure works it in that the top model is the first one featured, so we will start with the top model and work our way through the many different models at this time. So this is the Cavalier CD, available as an 1800 injection 4-door saloon, and of course an 1800 5-door hatch, which is actually the model featured. We'll read the text, we'll see the standard features, then we'll come back to the images. So it begins by telling us in the Cavalier CD, distinctive style, practical driving virtues and luxurious interior add up to a car expressly designed for fast long distance travel with 115 PS, developed by an advanced 1800 fuel injected engine. A peach of a unit was how Fast Lane described it, and a slick 5-speed gearbox, light, accurate, making gear changing no hardship, they added. The top speed is a healthy 116 miles per hour. From its spoked alloy wheels up, the Cavalier CD states its executive role, confirmed by the long list of standard equipment ranging from 4-door central locking plus tailgate on the hatch to electrically operated and heated door mirrors. For relaxed, high-speed motoring, the CD driver is given special consideration. The superbly comfortable front seats cause it in all the right places, and the driver's seat is height adjustable over a range of 5 centimeters or 2 inch, together with the tiltable steering column that's standard. It means that the most comfortable driving position is always within easy reach. Power steering is another CD feature for extra driving ease. Plus a direct action brake servo, giving instant response and reassuringly smooth progressive braking. Set into the curved cockpit style fascia, the clear to read graphics of the full instrumentation are complemented by carefully sighted controls that fall easily to hand. What's more, the Cavalier CD comes as an exceptionally rakish hatchback or as a distinctively stylish saloon with a huge 18 cubic foot boot. So we get a sliding tiltable glass sunroof with interior blind, driver's seat height adjustment, sport steering wheel, tiltable steering column, Kersey light delay cutoff, map reading lights, lockable glove box, instrument panel light dimmer, rear seat fold down centre armrest for the saloon, AC 741 stereo radio stereo cassette player with 4 speakers, electrically operated aerial, rear seat head restraints for the saloon, 2 inertia rear seat belts and centre static lap belt. We also get a 60-40 split rear seat hatch, manual rear suspension levelling system, interesting, 5-speed overdrive gearbox, power assisted steering, electrically operated front and rear windows, electrically operated heated door mirrors, front fog lamps, bronze tinted glass, laminated windscreen with graduated tint shade band, spoked alloy wheels with low profile tyres, central door locking including hatch, tailgate, headlamp wash wipe, intermittent tailgate wash wipe for the hatch, electric boot release for the saloon. And the model we're going to look at is of course a Cavalier CD hatch in Astro Silver. 2-coat metallic paint and trip computer are optionals at extra cost. So there's no doubt at this time this top of the range Cavalier was really well spec'd, wasn't it? It seemed a higher spec than the equivalent Sierra, although I'm not going to spend the time comparing both to each other at this moment because we've got a lot to get through. Interior does look nice. It's a bit of a sea of grey, which I'm never a fan of, but overall not bad because you know that seat quality is going to be pretty high on this top model. So we also get these sort of map pockets in the seats. So there is a look at the dashboard with all of the equipment and then the model itself. And there is the model itself as a hatch with those very unusual alloys. Not a huge fan of the alloy wheels, I must admit, but I guess that's just a personal thing. We can just make out the CD badge on the side there. And then the front end, we got these sort of extra lights. Look a bit unneat, I always found. And then we've got headlamp wash wipe, a very awful thing to have. And this interesting grille. Overall, a well-spec model. And just going back a page, this of course was your other option, the Saloon. I think overall for the design, I think I actually preferred the Saloon design overall, although obviously the hatch is going to be a more practical vehicle. I also think the alloys look a little bit nicer when they're in motion. I'm sure they would have been horrendous to clean though as well. Anyway, let's move on to the next model. So one model down from the CD would have been the SRi. Again, available as an 1800 injection 4-door saloon or 5-door hatch. Certainly these would have been my pick of the range. I think I would have come down one and gone for the SRi. I prefer the overall look and the 2-colour scheme. Anyway, let's have a look at the text. In style and performance, the Cavalier SRi is decidedly sporty. The special 2-tone paint treatment sets it apart from other models. Sports wheels with ultra low profile radials add to the purposeful looks, and the SRi's tremendous road grip. Its unerring road holding is aided by gas pressure dampers and finely tuned suspension settings, all combined to make the SRi's road behaviour one of the most exciting aspects of the car. The smooth 3-revving 1800 OHC engine with electronic fuel injection matches to a slick close ratio 5-speed gearbox provides the SRi with an impressive turn of speed. In comparing the SRi with 2 rivals, Car Magazine said, the sporty Vauxhall Saloon can claim to be the quickest car from rest to 60 miles per hour. 9 seconds, which actually isn't bad for the type of car it was and the time. And summarised with a healthy amount of driving pleasure thanks to sharp handling and steering, ideal gear ratios and strong top engine urge. Inside the smart twill sports cloth trim and sculptured rally style front seats, the 3-spoke steering wheel is mounted on a tiltable steering column and allows quick adjustment to the ideal driving setup. As Motorist magazine said, driving the Cavalier SRi was a pleasure. I would say that the 1.8 SRi must be the sporting saloon with the family man in mind. I do love these brochures actually when they pick little bits from the motoring press, although it has to be noted obviously they're only going to pick the best bits. So with the SRi, the standard equipment includes sports front seats with head restraints, 3-spoke sports steering wheel, tiltable steering column, integral map reading lights, courtesy light delay cutoff, headlamps on warning buzzer, lockable glove box, AC 741 stereo radio stereo cassette player with 4 speakers, electric boot release for the saloon, 5-speed close ratio gearbox, bronze tinted glass, laminated windscreen with graduated tint shade band, intermittent tailgate wash wipe for the hatch, electrically operated and heated door mirrors, uprated suspension, choice of flush wheel covers or extra cost alloy wheels. You think alloys would come as standard, but it really wasn't that common to get alloys as standard on these cars, or indeed the equivalent Fords of the time. But there was always the alloy option, which a lot of people actually chose at the time, or the dealer just threw them on there because they knew the customer wanted that and just added the price. We also get ultra low profile tyres, front and rear spoilers, 2-tone horn, headlamp wash wipe. Have a look on the interior. Again, it's a lot of grey in there, but I actually quite like, I prefer this to the other models. So this is your standard wheel trim you would get, and the dash of the SRi. And here is the model itself in saloon guise, of course, at this time red inserts made faster or sportier, and of course this model is showing the alloy wheels, which I actually much prefer that alloy wheel design over the CD's alloy wheel design. Optional extra, of course, we just saw the wheel trim we would get as standard. What else can I say about this? Well, this would be Astro Silver 2-coat metallic. Again, this would be a optional extra colour, but suits the car overall, I think. Anyway, we must move on. We've still a lot of the range to cover. Next model up was the GLS. Bit of a strange model, almost like we've got too many models, because this is really the SR is kind of like taken over from the GLS, but never mind. You can get this one as a 1600S, and you can still get this as the 1800 injection, again as a 4-door or a 5-door. High standards of luxury already give the GLS wide appeal, and now the Cavalier is given an even greater performance dimension. The advanced 1600S engine, it sweeps the GLS to over 105 miles per hour and 0 to 60 in 10.8 seconds. Also car is joined by the potent 1800i unit with the electronic fuel injection to widen the power choice and place the GLS variant firmly in the 116 miles per hour class. All models, of course, have the 5-speed overdrive gearbox as standard. The stylish 13-inch alloy wheels are shod with 185 by 70 low-profile tyres. The sliding and tiltable glass sunroof thoughtfully incorporates an interior sun blind. Throughout, the GLS is remarkably refined, with highly efficient aerodynamics, reducing wind noise, and special engineering features helping to eliminate road-induced vibrations. What's left after that is effectively dampened by a barrier of sound insulation materials, including an underbonnet insulation mat. Inside, the new driver's seat height adjuster and tiltable steering column meet a wide range of seating preferences, and as the feature list below confirms, the GLS is strong on luxury and convenience. So we get sliding tiltable glass sunroof, driver's seat height adjustment, tiltable steering column, 3-spoke steering wheel, map reading lights, courtesy light delay cut off, lockable glove box, instrument panel light dimmer, fold down rear seat centre armrest, saloon, central door locking now including tailgate lock on hatch, AC 741 stereo radio stereo cassette player with 4 speakers, 60/40 split rear seat for the hatch, headlamps on warning buzzer, alloy wheels. Oh, we get alloy wheels, that's interesting, isn't it, as standard. 185/70 low profile tyres, bronze tinted glass all round, laminated windscreen with graduated tint shade band, 5-speed overdrive gearbox, intermittent tailgate wash wipe for the hatch, electric boot release for the saloon, and electrically operated and heated door mirrors. So there we go, a look at the inside, certainly a little bit more of a duller looking interior. Nice to see a sunroof. And then these switches are the controls for the door mirrors, but what a weird place to put them next to the gear lever. That's very odd. Or rather, I should say, right next to the handbrake. And then the car itself, I do find it an oddball model at this time, the GLS. Now the GLS, I don't really understand it fully when I compare it to an SRi now. Particularly as they throw alloy wheels as standard on this model, but as standard, your SRi just gets wheel trims. A bit of a confusing one for me. Anyway, let's move on down the range. So we move down the range now to the GL model, and like I say, we can get this as an 1800 injection as well now, but also has a 1600 also. So a saloon hatch, we can now get this as a 5-door estate as well. There is a section for the estate models, but like the Astra, we'll do a separate episode for the estates at the end of this series. Anyway, let's see how it describes the GL. So it tells us, in addition to their pleasing balance of comfort, power and overall economy, GL saloon and hatchback models offer even more power thrust with the introduction of the 1800 fuel injection engine. Interestingly, you couldn't get the 1800 on the estate. 116 miles per hour, 0 to 60 in around 9.5 seconds. For drivers who like plenty of performance in hand. Certainly an interesting model if you got the GL with the 1800, because I guess it was a little bit of a bargain price with the performance from the 1800 without having to actually pay more for the more sporty looking models, I guess. It goes on to tell us not that the 1600S hatchbacks and saloons hang about with over 105 miles per hour max, 0 to 60 in around 11 seconds, and with a 5-speed overdrive gearbox standard on all models. Both engines are also way ahead in the economy stakes. On DOT figures, at a constant 56 miles per hour, a 1600S saloon or hatch will turn in 49.6 mpg, with the 1800i variants showing only 0.9 mpg less, an endorsement of the injection system's super efficiency. Value. With tinted glass all round and colour toned bumpers and side mouldings, the GL looks a lot of car for its price, which it is. There are also electrically operated and heated door mirrors, aerodynamic flush wheel covers and twin coach line stripes to give the GL extra distinction. Refinement is also the keynote of the GL's interior, trimmed in luxurious mosaic cloth. Even the sides and rear of the front seats are cloth trimmed. superbly comfortable. Front seat occupants are sure to note the extra comfort and support given by the seating, which is the latest ergonomic design and with generous fore and aft adjustment on the rail mounts. A tiltable steering column is another aid to achieving the most comfortable driving position, and a driver's seat height adjuster can be specified as an extra cost option. Along with the attractively styled instrument graphics set in the cockpit style fascia, there's the latest Philips AC441 mono radio stereo cassette player with digital frequency display. Rear seat passengers too are comfortably catered for with a fold down centre armrest on saloon models. If it's seat load versatility that's called for, the GL hatch and GL estate are attractive alternatives. Both have a folding rear seat that splits 60-40, and additionally the GL estate incorporates a manual rear suspension levelling system. And both are impressively large load carriers, with the hatch offering up to 42.9 cubic foot of fully usable cargo space and the estate 51 cubic feet. So quite a description actually for the GL, sort of like the practical features, and I think they were noting that this is probably going to be a more popular model than the GLS, and of course it certainly was. So standard features: we get a 3-spoke steering wheel, tiltable steering column, courtesy light delay cutoff, map reading lights, instrument panel light dimmer, lockable glove box, AC441 mono radio stereo cassette player, fold down rear seat centre armrest, saloon, front door pockets, front seat head restraints, continental style front armrests, headlamp on warning buzzer, 60-40 split rear seat, hatch estate, electric boot release, saloon, 5-speed overdrive gearbox, tailgate wash wipe, hatch estate, laminated windscreen with graduated tint shade band, bronze tinted glass, twin rear fog lamps, electrically operated and heated door mirrors, manual rear suspension levelling for the estate, and flush wheel covers. You will notice when we go down the range, a lot of the features that are not mentioned on the higher models are now mentioned on these, so obviously don't seem like they've got no equipment on there at all. Look at the seats. This is a good sort of image to show that sort of wraparound dash and the continental arm rests on the doors. We're also getting a rear armrest. A look at the wheel covers that we get, the dash and steering wheel of the GL model, and then of course the car itself in silver blue. Let's move down the range. So moving down the range introduces the most popular Cavalier of them all. They were just everywhere, the Cavalier Ls, weren't they? Obviously a very popular fleet vehicle and company car as well. But overall, a nice starter car really. And of course we get more engine choice. We can now get a little 1300S, a 1600S, and we're also joined with a 1600 diesel as well. We can get it as a 4-door saloon, 5-door hatch, and 5-door estate car as a 1600 or 1600 diesel. So yeah, an interesting car all round with lots of choices. Vauxhall at this time always picked out the estates to be on sort of like the lower models, the more popular models, which was interesting. So you really couldn't get like a luxury estate for whatever reason, or even a big engine estate. Anyway, we'll read the text for this popular L model. We'll come back to the images. Widely regarded as the definitive medium-sized popular car, the Cavalier L offers 5-seater spaciousness, a choice of 3 body styles, saloon, hatch and estate, and the availability of 1300S and 1600S engines, plus a 1600 diesel. Always one of the most sophisticated of all L models, the Cavalier L still sets the pace for its class. Just sit in the Cavalier L and immediately you'll note the comfort and how right the driving position feels. Then look around and you're made aware of the fine standards of equipment and finish. They start with the smart, durable twill cloth trim and the extended use of cloth for covered surfaces. The latest Philips AC441 mono radio stereo cassette player with its digital frequency display and integral front rear fader control adds to the stylishness of the curved cockpit type fascia, and there's excellent sound quality throughout the 4 speakers. With the 1600S OHC engine developing a lusty 90 PS, it's not surprising that this model has a reputation as being something of a flyer, yet its fuel economy shames many 1300s. When testing the 1600S estate, What Car said, "It manages 60 miles per hour in just over 10 seconds, and that sort of time is pretty quick for a family car of just 1600cc. It's a nice engine to use too, having instant throttle response." The Cavalier L, powered by the equally advanced 1300S OHC unit and fitted with a Pierberg carburetor, is no slouch either, with a maximum approaching 100 miles per hour and commendable economy. And if MPG is the criteria, the 1600 OHC diesel provides it with all the refinement that hallmarks the Cavalier range. On all models you can specify the gallon stretching 5-speed manual gearbox as an extra cost option, so we're back with 4 speeds here. Alternatively, GM's 3-speed auto transmission is available at extra cost on the 1300S and 1600 Cavalier L models. I'm surprised the 1300 can be optioned with the auto actually. Standard features: continental style front armrest, integral map reading lights, courtesy light delay cutoff, headlamps on warning buzzer, lockable glove box, AC441 mono radio stereo cassette player, door pockets, 60/40 split rear seat for the hatch and estate, cloth trimmed front head restraints, trip odometer, quartz clock, cigar lighter, illuminated glove box, load area lamp, laminated windscreen, remote control door mirrors, twin rear fog lamps, tailgate wash wipe, hatch estate, halogen headlamps, reversing lights, lockable fuel cap, flush wheel covers. And the car we're going to look at is actually an unusual colour actually, a Cavalier L hatch in Brazil brown. Gotta be one of the rarer colours. Rear seat belts are an extra cost option. Incidental illustration top right shows the new interior courtesy lights with integral map reading lights, and then it's also going to show us the radio stereo cassette player as standard, which is going to be this guy. So that's your standard bit of audio equipment. So there is your not that interesting interior light that it's harping on about. Here is your interior, an interior colour I guess to match that Brazil brown exterior. And yes, a super unusual colour to pick, and certainly a rare colour, that Brazil brown. I can't really remember that too well at all. Certainly it feels more like a colour from the 70s rather than the 80s. And a bit of a nod to being a bit old fashioned. Obviously the Sierra was well in sales figures by this time with the new sort of curvy shape of the Sierra, which was very much a love it or hate it design. Shocked a lot of people actually, replacing the Cortina with this new round shape. This car in theory competing with the new Sierra, it could have been said to be looking a bit old fashioned, particularly as it ran all the way to 88, but at the same time, maybe it was a clever move by Vauxhall to keep this going, because really, for those people who couldn't cope with the Sierra's shape, maybe this, I'm going to say, possibly a little bit more of an old-fashioned design, maybe that was a bit more of to catch some of those Sierra buyers, particularly in saloon form. I don't know, you tell me. Anyway, that brings us to the final model of the day, the Cavalier, not even an L. Base model fantasticness. This could be had as a 1300S, 1600S, as a saloon or hatch, or even a 1600S 5-door estate. You will notice, unlike the Astra, we are getting door rubbing strips even on that base model. And when you think about the Sierra's base models, I think Ford really did give you less for your base model. I think Vauxhall may have tried a little bit harder to make your base model not so base. In my theory anyway, it certainly doesn't stand out as a base model like the Sierras did. Anyway, we'll look at the text. The straightforward Cavalier badge on the rear of the least expensive saloon, hatch and estate is something of an understatement. In value and equipment, they strongly outrank their rivals. With the choice of a powerful 1300S or 1600S OHC engines for the saloon and hatch, the estate takes the 1600S. Plus advanced front-wheel drive and a sophisticated suspension system, these Cavaliers' open road ability is never in doubt. Of course, Sierra was still sticking with that rear-wheel drive setup, even though I think it certainly looked like a more modern car. Neither are their low running cost, stemming from excellent MPG and the minimum maintenance requirements that lead the class. Both Cavalier 1300S and 1600S models are certainly strangers to the workshops, needing only 2.8 hours of routine maintenance a year if you cover 18,000 miles per annum. A glance at the standard features confirms how these Cavaliers score, with extra refinements and equipment of the sort usually reserved for more expensive cars, and underlines that there's nothing utilitarian about a price-leading Cavalier. There are cloth door trim panels and a stylish 2-spoke steering wheel. Other thoughtful details include an illuminated headlamp switch, as well as the headlamps in warning buzzer. And it's worth noting that the Cavalier's substantial bumpers and bodyside protection mouldings finished in grey or brown, depending on body colour. So what we do get is cloth door trim panels, fully padded and adjustable front head restraints, Continental style front armrests, integral centre console, lockable glove box, headlamps on warning buzzer, Philips AN232 radio, reclining front seats, quartz clock, cigar lighter, trip odometer, driver's door pockets, dipping rear view mirror, illuminated heater controls, 60/40 split rear seat, hatch estate, hinged load cover, hatch, laminated windscreen, remote control driver's door mirror, remote control passenger door mirror, estate, thermoplastic clip-on bumper covers, halogen headlamps, heated rear window, tailgate wash wipe, estate, reversing lights, twin rear fog lamps, lockable fuel cap, direct action brake servo, and flush wheel covers. Your interior actually doesn't look ridiculously bad for a base model. We do get head restraints. We do get the Continental armrests on the doors. We do get these sort of full length door cards, although they're not particularly very high quality. Head restraints, like we said. Look at the interior, obviously no rev counter or anything like that. Radio is super cheap and nasty. Certainly a few blanking plugs in there too, but not too bad. We get them awful cheapo wheel trims, which would certainly go straight in the garbage. I put a nicer set on there, but overall not bad, is it, for a base model? I don't think. This is in carmine red, probably a popular colour because you wouldn't have had to pay any extra for that for your base model. This is even showing you've got a passenger door mirror on here. Apparently that would have been an optional extra though, so you would have just come with a driver's side door mirror. But you know, for a base model, I don't know about you, I don't think that was too bad for a base model car of this type. So there you go, your Cavalier range in 1985. Let's wrap this one up. It's gone on. It's only long episodes when there are big ranges like this, aren't they? And it's quite a big range. Other than the GLS, it was a nice little setup. I just don't really understand how the GLS fitted in, but maybe that was just me. But yeah, a nice range of cars. I always liked the Mark II Cavalier, I must admit. Bit of an honest car all round, but certainly the SRi would have been the model I would have really wanted. Although the the GL with an 1800, that would have been quite a bit of a value pick, I think. Next week, Manta. At this time period, we're joined with my favourite Manta, the GTE. So that's the one to look forward to. Obviously, there's only 3 models, so the episode will be a bit more of a reasonable length than these Astra and Cavalier episodes. But thank you so much for watching today. Please share your memories of the Mark II Cavalier. And we'll end, as we always do, by saying thank you for watching Quarterlight and the Mark II Vauxhall Cavalier. I'm going to put a couple of boxes here. One will be eventually have the whole series in here, and particularly if you missed any of the last episodes for the Astra or the Nova, that will be in that box. This is more of a random box that YouTube picks. Also, if you've not done already, please do consider subscribing. It is all completely free and very much appreciated. Don't forget to hit that like button. Please do take care. We'll see you all very soon. All the best and goodbye.